Whenever we are talking about the transportational kind of injuries, this regards basically the car accidents as well as the pedestrian injuries, these motorcyclist accidents as well as the cyclists are included in these type of injuries, as well as the railway injuries or the railway rollovers. They are all included in these kind of transportational injuries. So the pattern of these injuries is again very important. What are the physics or what are the dynamics behind these transportational injuries? It is again very important to discuss this. For example, the Newton's law that states force is equal to mass into circulation. That is basically a product of mass and circulation. So the mass and acceleration. So again, the acceleration or the decelerating forces basically come into play whenever these transportational injuries happen. So all of these will be discussed over here in this section, how this occurs and what are the dynamics behind these vehicular kind of injuries. First of all, we'll be discussing the main dynamics comprehensively regarding the vehicular injury, and then we'll move on to the pattern of injuries of the vehicle occupants. Of course, we have the driver as well as the person sitting next to the driver, so both of them are included as the front seat passengers, and then we move on to the rear seat occupants. They are at stake, and of course what kind of injuries can occur to the rear seat occupants, they'll be discussed over here. And then of course the age of the occupants is again very important. For example, females and the children, they are at stake whenever these road traffic accidents occur, and they are basically more viable to injury whenever these impacts occur. Again, the accelerating and decelerating forces are very important. Now we'll move on to the, basically this diagram is explaining the kind of injury to the pedestrians only. And it's basically if there is a front impact with the pedestrian, then a lot of bumper fractures occur to the pedestrians. And these bumper fractures can include the femoral fractures as well as the tibial fractures will be included over here. And then the pedestrians can also scoop over the bonnets. So that will basically the transverse forces will apply over here. And if there is an impact with the windscreen, then the injury will be of a more fatal kind over here. And then there can be run-over injuries. So the run-over injuries are basically the decelerating kind of injuries that we come across, but still the kind of damage that they cause to the pedestrians, it's quite fatal over here. Then the dynamics basically include it's basically a very complex pattern of traffic injuries. Whenever we are talking about here, you can see in this diagram, it's basically a front impact injury. So it's very important whenever you are documenting a case, you'll have to document whether it was a front impact or a rear impact or even a side sweeps. So these are basically the three kind of injuries that can occur and the three kind of impacts that can occur to the vehicle. The vehicle can be a car, and mostly we are discussing basically the car whenever we are referring to a vehicle, but the cyclists and the pedalists are discussed later on in the relevant sections. The tissue injury is due to the change of the rate of movement. So as I was stating, it can be an accelerating injury as well as it can be a decelerating injury, and it will basically cause the coup and the contra coup injuries and the head injuries. Basically they can be of very fatal type. The coup injuries are basically defined as the head injury which occurs at the site of impact, and the contra coup injuries basically occur at the site opposite to the site of impact. So that will be regarded as the contra coup injuries. And basically these coup and contra coup injuries are only regarding to the head injuries only. The amount of force body can tolerate, it depends upon the duration and the direction again. So the forces are again very important, and we'll have to calculate what kind of a force it was and what was the force of the impact that took place. So if it is a bigger force and the area involved is bigger, then the damage caused is in a lesser proportion. But if it is a bigger force and the area involved is smaller in amount, then the damaged cause will be of a more higher magnitude over here. The accelerating and deceleration effects differently, and we'll be discussing them one by one. How can acceleration affect the front passengers as well as the rear passengers, and as well as when we are talking about the decelerating forces. Whenever there is a front impact of the vehicles, it's basically the decelerating forces. And whenever there is a rear impact of the vehicle, it's basically an accelerating force. So we'll be discussing them differently, and there are different kind of injuries that can occur. So in this diagram, basically when it's a resting phase and there is impact from behind, the neck and the cervical vertebrae basically go into the hyperextension, and then they go into the hyperflexion state. It's also known as the whiplash kind of injury, and it's very damaging because sometimes the vertebrae get fractured and even the nerve damage can occur at this phase. So these whiplash kind of injuries are very important, and one should know about these kind of injuries. And again, it's the accelerating kind of injuries that will result in these whiplash kind of injuries. Most of the time, but still the decelerating ones can still develop these hyperextensions and these hyperflexion states. The flexion of the cervical and the thoracic spines occur over here, and the intrusion of the structural parts into the passenger compartments. It's again very important over here that we see that some of the intrusions of the structural parts of the compartment or the vehicle can coincide, and they can again cause the laceration, they can cause bruising, and even they can cause the incised wounds. Again, the steering is very important. Again, the rim of the windscreen is very important, and the side impacts are again very important. So all of these are going to be very important whenever we are considering the vehicle occupants and the compartments that they are sitting in. Now, the ruptured aorta is again one of the pattern of injury that can occur in the road traffic accidents, and there is a pendulum effect. This pendulumic effect is basically relating to the heart. The heart basically gets detached from all the arteries and the veins in a lay term. When in a lay terminology, we can say that the heart is in a pendulum kind of an effect, and it's just lying over there in the thoracic cavity. So even there can be ladder tears in the aorta. There is basically a main tear, and then the smaller tears give a pattern of a ladder. So that is basically going to commence towards the ladder tears in the arch of aorta, or even in the ascending or the descending aortas. And then we have the hyperextension of the neck. This is again one of the kind of the pattern of injuries. Then we have the abrasions, lacerations, and the fractures depending upon the impacts. The direction of the impact is again very important, and the force of the impact is again very important. And the accelerating or the decelerating type is again very important over here. The hip joint dislocation is quite common in the front seat passengers, because when there is a front impact of the chest with the front of the vehicle, then the forces basically go down the pelvis, and that is basically going to cause the hip joint dislocation, or even the pelvic fractures can occur at this level. So the internal injuries are again very important. The rupture of the liver and the spleen, and it can be a laceration. If something has been stabbed from inside the compartments, and then it can be a laceration of the liver, or even some jagged wounds can appear on the liver and the spleen, etc. The bruising and laceration of the skin is sometimes quite evident, and sometimes even it's not there, and still there is a lot of internal damage to the body. So one should not get confused as if the bruising is not there, so the internal damage won't be there. It's not always the case. Sometimes the bruising is not apparently over there, and the internal damage is still there due to the decelerating and the accelerating forces. So the kind of injuries that can occur are mainly or majorly they are divided as the chest injuries over here. And then we have the scalp laceration or the fractured skull. And whenever we're talking about the head injuries, it can include the coup and as well as the contour coup injury. Coup, as I've already defined as it is basically at the site of the impact and the contour coup injuries basically occur opposite to the site of impact in the head. So these are basically the injuries that can occur to the head and to the skull. And the intracranial hemorrhage or the brain damage is again very important after these coup and contour coup impacts. And basically the analysis relies upon the radiological examination. The X-rays, the CT scans and the MRIs basically will get help from these, and that will basically maintain what kind of injury has occurred to the brain over here. Then we move on to the hyperflexion of the cervical spine, and that was regarded as the whiplash injury over here, or the whiplash pattern over here. Then we cannot forget the atlanto-occipital dislocation or the atlanto-occipital fractures because they can cause the hangman. They are known as the hangman fractures, and the person can get paralyzed after these kind of fractures. So we have to keep these fractures in our mind. Then we have the bruising of the epicardium. So the heart in itself is a very important and a vital organ. So these vital organs can get damaged over here by the bruising of the epicardium or the catastrophic hypotension. So after the heart gets affected, the person can go into a state of hypotension or into a state of a shock. So that will be treated accordingly depending upon the condition of the person. Then is the subcapsular hematoma or the tears. They're again very important, and the aorta can be involved over here. The arches and the ascending and the descending portions can be involved over here. Then we have the mesentery and the omentum bruising. So the abdominal organs are even at stake over here. The ureters, the kidneys, and the pelvis, all of these pelvic organs are basically at stake over here whenever we are discussing this. So moving on to the rear seat occupants. Now, depending upon the age and the gender of the rear seat occupants, it's very important what kind of injuries can occur to them. Even the baby carriers can be put into the rear seats, and sometimes they can be at stake. So we'll be discussing that over here. The abdominal injuries, again, it's basically a front impact. If it's an accelerating injury, the person in the rear seat basically gets an impact with the front seats, and that is basically going to cause the abdominal injuries. Again, the seatbelts injuries, they can occur over here, and sometimes a gagging reflex occurs when the seatbelt gets hanged over there, and it's basically an asphyxiating kind of a condition for the person who has had the seatbelt. So the ejections are again very important. Chest, head, and limb injuries occur. Ejection is basically defined as when the person gets out by the windscreen or by the rear screen. Whenever there is a decelerating force, the person can go back and he may be ejected from the vehicle, and that is basically going to cause him the limb injuries, the chest, and the head injuries accordingly. Then we have the injury basically depends upon, as I've already told you, it's basically the age and the gender of the person that we're talking about. It depends upon that. So talking about the front seat passengers, the greater number of skull fractures and brain damage occurs to the front seat passengers, and that is why the airbag phenomena and the seat belts are basically devised for their protection. Head and neck trauma is again very important. Again, the whiplash kind of injuries can occur to the front seat passengers because their cervical spine can go into the hyperextension and the hyperflexion phases. That can cause the fractures of the cervical vertebra, and eventually damage to the nerves can occur after this kind of a trauma. Then the chest trauma, after a direct impact of the chest with the steering wheel, it can be very traumatizing. There can be multiple or compound fractures to the ribs can occur after this kind of an impact. So in this section, basically, we discussed the dynamics of the transportational injuries and what kind of injuries can occur to the front seat as well as the rear seat passengers, and how can we deal with them. And what are the complications relating to them. That is the end of this section. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.